thing that happened recently. Uh, you have brother Kanye West and Candace Owens. Here's a picture of them. I think Kanye West was in Paris, some type of fashion show, whatever it was, um, where he was promoting something he was doing over there, and everybody's wearing these White Lives Matter T-shirts, and there's been a big uproar about it because you have Black Lives Matter, and then now Kanye, who's been quite controversial for quite a few years, particularly since Trump has been in office. He's been a supporter of Trump. He went to the White House when Trump was in office, singing praises to Trump, right? And people have been up in arms about Kanye West and Candace Owens and this whole White Lives Matter um, shirt and this whole idea of White Lives Mattering too. And so I guess for many, um, the question becomes, why is this problematic? And it's very problematic. It's very problematic, and some people don't understand why it's problematic. And so let me help you to understand why this is problematic. The idea, now understand, when you say Black Lives Matter, you have the organization, Black Lives Matter, and then you have the slogan, Black Lives Matter, that was kind of birthed, over the last couple of years, right? And so I get it. Black Lives Matter, the organization, has been under some heat about the funds that they've gotten. And I'm not talking about the organization, I'm talking about the slogan, right? And so we have to be careful not to mix the two. The idea of Black Lives Matter, you know, why is it problematic? Well, it's kind of problematic, because for us African Americans or people of color, we have always had an issue with white supremacy seeing our lives as value, that we matter. Understand the point behind the slogan, Black Lives Matter. Understand the slogan. Understand why it's important. It's important because um, African Americans, people of color, since the illegal inception of this nation, we have not been at the forefront of the power structure. We are not in charge of the power structure. I don't care how many individual African American or people of color that sit as our mayors and senators. Overall, in this nation, we are still, even though there are beginning to be more people of color that are, beginning to be the majority, when it comes to the power structure in terms of how this nation was set up, in terms of how the Constitution was set up, it was not designed for us to succeed. It was not designed for us to get ahead of the game. It was not designed for us to build ourselves up by our own bootstraps. It was not designed for us to get a head start. It was not designed for us to succeed in any way, shape, or fashion. Hence, people of color in America, black folks in particular, we were not viewed at one point in time as full-fledged human beings. We were viewed as what, 3/5 of a person? And so Black Lives Matter, to this day, we wrestle with being respected. We wrestle with obtaining rights. We wrestle with issues such as redlining in our neighborhoods. We wrestle with issues like reparations, right? We wrestle with issues such as, you know, being treated fairly when we interact with police. Because I don't care who you are. I don't care what you got to say about it. And I work in the law enforcement field, right? It Until you can tell me, or until you can say you know what it feels to be driving in your car and you're driving minding your business, but the minute you see a police officer driving behind you, it's a feeling unlike no other that just makes you tense a lot of times as a black person, as a black man. You could be doing nothing wrong, but the idea of a police officer even just cruising behind you, it can make you clutch that steering wheel. We should not have to go through that, but because of what happens on a day-to-day basis in our country, we experience that PTSD. you know, we experience that that secondhand trauma or that secondhand PTSD because we see our brothers and sisters go through and interact with police, and sometimes they don't walk away alive. It's unfortunate, but they don't walk away alive a lot of times. And why is this problematic? It's problematic because, Kanye West, for him to say this, he's a very influential person. He's a public figure. He's a celebrity, right? He has influence. And so the problem is, what is a person? You can have influence, but the question is, what are you doing with that influence? Right? Is your influence helping us or is it hurting us? And I know Kanye is big on being a free thinker, and I agree with that. Be a free thinker, but what happens when your thinking is a ventriloquist, and your ventriloquist thinking shapes your influence, and with that influence, you entertain those that are against us, while you yet simultaneously plague us with trauma. Like, because watching this White Lives Matter is nothing but playing on our trauma. It's nothing but playing on our pain. And if he did this for a publicity stunt, you, you're doing nothing but, and I think Van Lathan said it too, it's like Negroes are waking up just pissed off just because they watch it. Like, it's just, it shouldn't have to be.
What's happening? This is Donte, Carroll, host of Turn Up the Volume podcast. Listen, do me a favor. If you like this video, do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button. Also, tap the bell and turn on all of your notifications to see this and more interviews and more shows from my podcast right here on my YouTube page. So y'all hit that like button, tag, share, and subscribe. Y'all be good.